Hello everyone and welcome. You are watching Eagle News America. I'm Alan Basoyane coming to you from Los Angeles, California. Tonight we have updates from several of our correspondents in Australia and in the US. Diana Pedro in Sydney, Australia reports about Victoria reinstating Stage 3 restrictions and the closing of the New South Wales and the Victoria border. Chai Masaka in Waldorf, Maryland.
Marathon Governor.
Melissa Allen in Lakeland reports about Florida's perfect storm, the rising of COVID-19 cases, plus school and theme park reopenings. Jane Kathleen Gregorio in Corpus Christi, Texas.
Small businesses and local nonprofit groups in Austin, Texas have access to relief grants.
Mylene Cusho in North Hills, California.
Los Angeles partners with Amazon to give free Fire 7 tablets to 2,000 families throughout the county.
JP Era in Sacramento updates us on California offering resources to promote the Wear a Mask campaign on personal social media profiles. Plus, we get to talk about our favorite, most useful household tool. But first, an overview of how the world looks now. According to the Coronavirus Resource Center of Johns Hopkins University in Medicine, as of 4 p.m. Eastern Time, Thursday, July 9, 2020, the number of cases of COVID-19 reported worldwide is now more than 12,100,000. This includes more than 3 million in the US and more than 9,000 in Australia. Sadly, this virus has claimed over 551,000 lives worldwide. This number includes more than 132,000 deaths in the US and 106 in Australia. Our coverage begins now. UN Chief Antonio Guterres says the international community must provide liquidity, financial assistance, and debt relief to Latin America and the Caribbean as it struggles with gaping inequalities that add to the difficulty of the COVID-19 pandemic. Take a look.
Of already gaping inequalities, high levels of informal labor and fragmented health services, the most vulnerable populations and individuals are once again being hit the hardest. Indigenous peoples and people of African descent, as well as migrants and refugees, are also suffering disproportionately as vulnerability multiplies. For Latin America and the Caribbean, the international community must provide liquidity, financial assistance, and debt relief.
Meanwhile, White House Press Secretary Kayleigh McEnany tells reporters that the Supreme Court decision rejecting President Trump's claim of immunity from criminal investigation and ruling that his financial records must be handed over to New York prosecutors is a win for the president. Take a look.
Also, there was a note in the Roberts opinion that the New York State case, basically the grand jury said that they were prohibited from arbitrary fishing expeditions and initiating investigations out of malice or intent to harass. So that language made it pretty clear that this was a win for the president. The taxes are under audit. He said he would release them when they are no longer under audit. The justices did not rule against him. In fact, it was a unanimous opinion. The executive is imbued with many constitutional authorities, many responsibilities to protect this nation from threats, foreign and domestic, and he must be able to operate unencumbered. That's where the proposition of absolute immunity comes from, and that is what the administration was defending in court. And we are pleased by the 9-0 opinion to send this back to the lower court, though we are not pleased by the absolute immunity component.
McEnany also discusses schools reopening in the fall, saying, it is of absolute necessity that children return to school this year.
Well, now, if Democrats have their way, children will not have access to schools at all, and that is not acceptable to President Trump. President Trump continues to fight for equal opportunity in our schools by boldly and firmly underscoring the absolute necessity of America's schools to reopen this fall. It is our opinion that schools should reopen. I'd refer you to Dr. Redfield, who said yesterday, head of CDC, this virus has a very limited effect on kids. He went on to say, unlike the flu, kids are not driving the transmission cycle.
When we come back, updates from our Eagle News correspondents. This is Eagle News America. Stay with us.
All or nothing na ang magiging labanan sa tagisan ng galing. Dahil ang top 30 ay sasalain na para mabuo ang top 15 semi-finalist.
Sino ba sila? Karaniwang tao, saan katatakbo? I've been praying for.
Tutukan niyan this weekend sa pinakamalawak na talent competition on Philippine TV and online. Ito ang Tagisan ng Galing.
Tagisan ng Galing is presented by SMC Infrastructure, building a better world. Sanmig sugar-free white coffee, puno ng white coffee taste without the sugar, kaya lower calories. Try mo na Sanmig sugar-free white coffee. Sarap ng white coffee, now sugar-free. Vetaproof Nutrichoice, the only premium dog food with active boost for optimum energy and prebiotics that help strengthen immunity. Just like Catherine Bernardo, gawing listo ganado ang fur babies niyo. Listo ganado sa Nutrichoice. Magnolia Chicken Templados, delicious, ready to cook and freshly marinated daily. Pure Foods Lunch and Meal, pure sarap for every family. Star Chunky Cheese Corned Beef, ang cheesy ng corned beef mo. Walang duda, kids can tell na #1 ang Pure Food Standard Juicy. Ang tender, ang juicy, ang sarap. Co-presented by Cooper, expert in air conditioning and electromechanical. Also engaged in structural, electrical, fire protection, plumbing, and sanitary services. Cooper, your ultimate MEPS and air conditioning solutions. Unlad Incorporated International, fight against global poverty. New San Jose Builders Incorporated. Canrib Corporation, your ventilation and air conditioning specialist. Vita Herbs Philippines Green Coffee, masarap, mabango, at healthy pa. Puerto Rico Resort and Convention Center, Cabiao, Nueva Ecija. I love Puerto Rico. In participation with Rain or Shine Elastomeric Waterproofing Paint, Matimco, R Square Variables Incorporated, Compizel Enterprises, Saisho International Trading Corporation, DN Steel, EMAC UPB Roof Corporation.
Hey, Gretchen Ho here, and I'm a white coffee lover. Creamy kasi, and very yummy. Pero mas masarap kung hindi nakaka-guilty. Check my new discovery, Sanmig Sugar-Free White Coffee. Puno ng white coffee taste without the sugar, kaya lower calories. Try mo na! Sanmig Sugar-Free White Coffee. Sarap ng white coffee, now sugar-free.
The successful development of TPLEX, or Tarlac Pangasinan La Union Expressway in 2009, a 4-lane toll road that extends from Tarlac City to Rosario La Union, with an additional approved extension of 56 kilometers all the way to San Juan La Union. This is expected to reduce travel time to Baguio and other provinces in northern Luzon. Realizing the vision of creating a better world for Filipinos fueled the team's focus.
Listo at ganado ang baby ko sa vet-approved Nutri-Chunks with active boost and prebiotics na pampalisto. Made with real meat, with essential nutrients to help them grow healthy and happy. Listo, ganado sa Nutri-Chunks.
Ikaw lang ang star ng buhay ko. Para sa akin, perfect ka. Ang cheesy ng corned beef mo. Pag Star Chunky Cheese Corned Beef, sarap ng corned beef, inangat pa ng real cheese cubes. Star Chunky Cheese Corned Beef.
You are watching Eagle News America. I'm Alan Bastoyahe in Los Angeles. Victoria reinstates Stage 3 restrictions. And the New South Wales and Victoria border closes. Eagle News correspondent Diana Pedro in Sydney has the details.
As of 9 p.m., 8th of July 2020, Wednesday, there is a total of 8,886 COVID-19 positive cases here in Australia. 147 are new in the last 24 hours. 134 of this is from the state of Victoria, 8 from New South Wales, 3 from the Australian Capital Territory, and 2 from Western Australia. The country has so far recorded 106 deaths and 7,487 recoveries, and has done 2.8 million testings since the pandemic started in January. As a precaution due to the high number of new positive cases in Victoria, Stage 3 stay-at-home restrictions is reinstated since 11:59 p.m. of 8th of July across metropolitan Melbourne and Mitchell Shire. Leaving home is allowed only if shopping for food and supplies, for care and caregiving, exercise, and study and work if doing so from home is not possible. Also, the border between Victoria and New South Wales is being closed for the first time in 100 years, also starting 8th of July. Permits are required to cross. Eligible for this permit are New South Wales residents going back home, cross-border residents, government officials and staff, students and accompanying parents or guardians, carers, workers involved in critical services like logistics, maintenance, medical care, manufacturing, defense, and safety, among others. Returning New South Wales residents have to go a mandatory 14-day self-isolation. This is Diana Pedro reporting from New South Wales, Australia. We live in interesting times.
Borders closed for the first time in 100 years. Certainly unprecedented in Australia. Thank you, Dan, for that report. Maryland governor calls for enhanced voting options. In Waldorf, Chai Masabka has the story.
Thank you, Alan. Maryland eligible voters now have more options this coming general elections amidst the pandemic. In an effort to ensure a free and fair elections on November 3, 2020, while minimizing the risk of the virus and following the failure of the State Board of Elections to come up with the recommendations on how to conduct the elections in light of the COVID-19 pandemic, Governor Larry Hogan, in his letter to its chairman, Michael R. Cogan, provided the following enhanced voting options. Quote, every early voting center should be open and every polling location should be open on election day to accommodate anyone who wishes to cast their ballots safely and in person. To ensure that every Marylander who wants to vote by mail can vote by mail, SBE should promptly send out an absentee ballot request application to every eligible Maryland voter. Every effort should be made to promote early voting, absentee voting by mail, and voting at off-peak times as safe and efficient options. End of quote. These expanded voting options are authorized by existing state law and are expected to encourage more Marylanders to participate in the electoral process this November, despite the pandemic. It is also expected to lessen confusion that may arise in these unprecedented times. Towards this end, the state will encourage state employees to help with the election staffing needs and will provide the necessary personal protective equipment, or PPE. Governor Hogan reminded the board through his letter that all polling places should follow all CDC guidelines and health protocols, emphasizing the need for proper sanitation, social distancing, and face coverings. noting some political parties and groups who may have interest in the conduct of the electoral process, Governor Hogan, also in his letter, appealed to the State Board of Elections to resist any undue partisanship and political influence and challenged the Board of Elections to fulfill its primary responsibility of providing accessible, accountable, and transparent elections, which Governor Hogan cited as an essential component of a democratic republic. In Walworth, Maryland, Chai Masagka, Eagle News, we live in interesting times. Back to you, Alan.
Now, Chai, which do you prefer when it comes to voting, by mail or in person?
Right now, Alan, since we are in a pandemic, I prefer to vote by mail rather than in person. That way, I don't have to go to the polling place and brave the crowd, you know. And if there would be any crowd, of course, that's expected because it's an election. And, you know, Alan, I want to be part of the solution rather than the problem. So if I don't go to a polling place to vote, and if I vote by mail, that means one person less from a crowd, and that means lower the risk of spreading the virus, Alan.
That's certainly good advice to give to anybody, but it must hurt some people who take the voting in person, standing in line and discussing things with other people and just seeing other people, knowing that you're doing your duty by voting. They lose that now if they don't go in person. Do you think we'll recover emotionally from not being able to vote in person if we prefer to vote by mail?
Well, you know, Alan, you know, there are people who wants to be part of the action. You know, it's different. It's quite different. It's a lot different when you go to the polling place and vote in person, because it's like you really experience how it is to exercise your right as a voter. Unlike as opposed to voting by mail, you just have to fill up a ballot and then cast it or mail it back to the election, to the Board of Elections. So, yeah, I guess right now it's quite different, and it's really a big difference if you vote by mail. But then that's it's a big help if, you know, most of the voters would just vote by mail, because that would really help contain or slow the spread of the virus. Alan.
Now, Chai, personally, I have never voted by mail, that is. I've never voted by mail. One of the kicks I get out of voting in person is you get one of those I voted stickers. What happens by mail? Can we still get an I voted sticker when we vote by mail? What do you think?
Honestly, I don't know, because I haven't voted by mail yet, but I think they will mail you something back, maybe to that effect that you have voted. I don't know, Alan.
Well, Chai just gave me your address. I'm sure I can get my hands on some extra stickers and I'll send it your way.
Thank you, Alan.
Thank you for the report, Chai. What might make Florida's perfect storm? Could they be the rising COVID-19 cases and school and theme park reopenings? In Lakeland, Melissa Allen has the answer.
As COVID-19 numbers in Florida continue to soar in counties across the state, an emergency order was put in place on Monday by Florida's Education Commissioner Richard Corcoran, mandating that all public schools reopen in August for at least 5 days a week. The order states that, quote, there is a need to open schools fully to ensure the quality and continuity of the educational process, the comprehensive well-being of students, and a return to Florida hitting its full economic stride, end quote. Health officials, including the nation's top infectious disease expert, Dr. Anthony Fauci, have maintained that school reopening must be decided on a case-by-case basis, contingent upon the severity of outbreaks in the area, and that reopening must be conducted while following CDC guidelines for the safety of both students and staff. The state of Florida currently ranks third in the nation for coronavirus cases, and as of Wednesday had over 223,000 confirmed cases. As a result of this news, social media sites have been aflutter with posts from concerned Floridians questioning the government's decision to reopen all schools next month. Many expressed concern about children and teachers getting infected and continuing the spread of the coronavirus. In other news, Disney World is still slated to begin reopening this weekend. Despite the rapid rise of COVID-19 cases in Florida, both Magic Kingdom and Animal Kingdom are set to reopen on July 11th, while Epcot and Disney's Hollywood Studios will reopen on the 15th. Meanwhile, in California, plans to reopen Disneyland Park and Disney's California Adventure Park on July 17th have been postponed, and the reopening of both parks have been delayed indefinitely. Moving on to weather in the Sunshine State, the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, or NOAA, recently reported that so far, 2020 has been Florida's hottest year on record. The Atlantic hurricane season began on June 1st, and according to forecasters with the NOAA's Climate Prediction Center, the forecast projects a 60% chance of an above-normal season. Florida's Attorney General Ashley Moody stated, quote, "As we continue to deal with the challenges presented by COVID-19, it is equally important that we do not drop the ball on our preparedness for hurricane season. The safety of you, your family, your pets, and your property depends on you preparing now," end quote. In Lakeland, Florida, Melissa Allen, Eagle News, we live in interesting times.
Melissa, stay safe there with the COVID numbers rising and with potential hurricane season affecting Florida. Up next, more updates from our correspondents. This is Eagle News America. Stay with us.
Mga kababayan, lalo na sa mga OFWs sa Middle East at North Africa, may good news kami para sa inyo. Mapapanood na ninyo ang Net25 at iba pang Filipino channels na hatid ng OSN sa presyong abot kaya. Libre ng box at installation, walang admin fees at no extra charges. Saktong entertainment na sakto lang sa budget mo. Bumisita na sa pinakamalapit na OSN store o dealer and subscribe now! Sa Net25 at OSN, siguradong at home ka dito.
Welcome back. You are watching Eagle News America. I'm Alan Basolyahe in Los Angeles. Small businesses, local nonprofit groups in Austin to receive relief grants. In Corpus Christi, Bureau Chief Jane Kathleen Gregorio has the story.
Thank you, Alan, and howdy from the Lone Star State. Today, we actually go to the capital of Texas, where small businesses and local nonprofit groups in Austin can expect some relief from the hardships caused by COVID-19. On Tuesday, the City of Austin Economic Development Department announced 2 financial grants to help organizations deal with the economic impacts of the pandemic. The Austin Small Business Relief Grant is a $16.5 million fund that will provide grants up to $40,000 to local small businesses in Austin city limits and includes sole proprietors. The Austin Nonprofit Relief Grant is a $6.35 million fund, providing grants up to $20,000 to Austin nonprofit groups serving specific areas of need. The Better Business Bureau will provide consultation and case management services to applicants needing help. The website, atxrecovers.com, will have grant guidelines, eligibility, and application requirements. On Tuesday, Austin Public Health rolled out 2 neighborhood testing sites and will be introducing a 3rd location on July 13th. These free testing sites are in addition to the existing Austin Public Health drive-through testing site and will service historically underserved neighborhoods and areas statistically most impacted by COVID-19. According to Anna Ureta, City of Austin COVID-19 testing group lead, after listening to feedback from the community, free neighborhood testing sites will not require an enclosed vehicle, unlike the drive-through testing sites. What this means, Alan, is that given that some patients do not have access to a car, they can instead arrive by foot, on bicycle or motorcycle, or in a vehicle. All individuals are required to wear face covering when arriving for testing. Appointments are recommended, but as long as there is capacity at the site, no one will be turned away if they need testing. Those who already have insurance or a primary care provider are encouraged to reach out to their doctor for an assessment first. Location sites and online appointments are available at austintexas.gov/COVID-19. In Austin, Texas, I'm Jane Kathleen Gregorio, Eagle News. We live in interesting times. Back to you, Alan.
So the city of Austin is under stage 4 status. Can you tell us what exactly that means?
That's a good question, Alan. So stage 4, what this means is that an average of 20 to 70 new COVID-19 hospital admissions have taken place in the Austin metropolitan area within a 7-day period. And what this means for the public is they are advised to practice good hygiene, stay home if sick, and avoid other people who are sick. And individuals are advised that they are safe to return, or individuals are advised they are safe to return to work at all businesses, but they must maintain social distancing and wear fabric face coverings in public. And they're also urged to avoid dining and shopping except with precautions, and to avoid all social gatherings of more than 10 people. It also advises individuals to return to work and dine and shop only at expanded essential businesses. Alan?
Well, that's certainly a lot of the same reminders that many states have throughout the country. And now, we're going to be talking a little bit later about useful household tools. And I have a good standing that both Chai and you already have your tools ready. So I'm kind of excited to hear about it. And because once I guess we talk about yours, we're going to see a little bit into your life. You want to give us any hints about what you might, you don't have to tell us what you're doing, but do you want to give us a hint about your household tool?
Well, my household tool specializes in crushing things. So that's a little bit of a teaser for later on tonight.
Crushing things, like people's dreams or something along that line?
Maybe not as maybe not as figurative as those, but definitely useful in all kinds of culinary challenges.
Oh, culinary. Okay, well, you certainly piqued our curiosity. And just like last time, I will tell you that I will also discuss my most useful tool around the house, and I'm going to let you kind of guess while we wait to see what kind of household tool I also value. Thank you very much for your report.
Thank you, Al. Looking forward to your mystery tool.
Los Angeles partners with Amazon to give free Fire 7 tablets to 2,000 families throughout the county. In North Hills, Mylene Cuscio has the details.
Thank you, Alan. Los Angeles partners with Amazon to give free Fire 7 tablets to 2,000 families throughout the county. This generous donation from LA County and Amazon will equip the children with the tools needed to assist them in their educational studies and enrichment studies at home. Los Angeles County Board of Supervisor Hilda Solis stated, "It's a matter of equity that all of our students have access to technology in order to stay on a level playing field with students able to afford computers, tablets, and other technology." Since the beginning of the pandemic, when all Angelenos were ordered to remain at home as a precautionary safeguard against COVID-19, Los Angeles schools had to adapt to had to adapt with the situation and continue educating the youth through remote online classes. Students logged in through their online means, and teachers continued their lesson plans by teaching remotely. Mark Whitten, the Vice President of Amazon Entertainment Devices and Services, said, "We are humbled by the Los Angeles County in doing what Los Angeles County is doing to help community members during these challenging times, and we are glad to support their efforts by donating Fire 7 tablets." Although many schools are now on summer break, remote learning does not stop, so children are in need of these kinds of technology to support and help them in their education. The tablets will be given in 7 counties. It will be given to 17 county departments and nonprofit organizations who in turn will distribute to the individual families in need. These county departments and nonprofit organizations include the Antelope Valley Partners for Health, East Los Angeles Community Youth Center, and Bell Gardens Neighborhood Youth Center. Los Angeles supports families that their children should have the equipment needed to learn remotely while parents have access to online resources and other services. Catherine Barger, the Los Angeles County Board of Supervisors Chair, confirmed Antelope Valley Partners for Health and other local organizations will identify and distribute these valuable resources, which will help families in need and equip youth with tools to succeed. In Los Angeles County, the number of new cases increased with 1,777 newly reported cases and 50 new deaths. The total number of confirmed cases in the county are 124,738, with 3,689 deaths and 2,037 current hospitalizations, as announced today by the Los Angeles Public Health Department. Meanwhile, the state of California has a total of 296,499 confirmed COVID-19 cases and 6,711 deaths, as recorded by the California Department of Public Health. In North Hills, California, Mylene Cusio, Eagle News. We live in interesting times. Back to you, Alan.
Now, Mylene, that's quite a nice gesture from Los Angeles County and Amazon. Do you personally have or know of anyone who has an Amazon Fire 7 tablet? I'm curious, what does it have to offer?
Actually, I don't have one myself, but I do have friends who do. I heard that it's a pretty decent tablet, especially for children. It's got good standard apps, parental control features, of course, and it's fairly durable, which is helpful for kids or adults who might have the tendency to drop things.
And I understand that the tablet is mostly for elementary school kids. Back when I was in elementary school, 19, so on and so forth, I never got anything free from school except maybe a cover for one of my textbooks to wrap myself. Do you ever remember getting anything free that you went home with coming home from elementary school?
Actually, I think you and I went to elementary school about the same time. So we probably got the same brown paper cover for the books. So that's what I remember as well. And maybe a few pencils here and there. But I had to work for them. You have to answer, certain questions in class in order to get these free pencils.
You see, Mylene, I was always the one without the pencils, so you can understand how many questions I didn't answer correctly. Now, talking about technology, I know you have 2 young children. Are your children very tech savvy? Are they more tech savvy than mom and dad?
Yes, they're pretty tech savvy. They know how to get around with their tablets and their laptops here at home. So, I mean, I help them out too, but most of the time it's them helping me.
Yeah, actually, I think that was one of your children calling me right now, telling me to cut off this this segment already. But before before we go, at the end of our broadcast, we're going to be talking about useful household tools. Can you give us a hint, just a little clue time, what it is that you might be presenting?
Well, you asked me if my kids are tech savvy. Well, my kids, are pretty sharp, and so are these tools that I have to show you later.
Oh, sharp. Okay. Well, we can't wait. It'll be cutting edge household tool.
Yes, indeed.
Thank you, Mylene, for your report.
Thank you, Alan.
California offers resources to promote Wear a Mask campaign on personal social media profiles. In Sacramento, JP Era has the details.
Here in Sacramento, we currently have a total number of 4,566 cases. Just before the 4th of July holiday, Governor Gavin Newsom launched the Wear a Mask campaign, which will go on throughout the rest of the year. This campaign was launched in response to the recent rise in the amount of confirmed cases. Its purpose is to spread awareness and encourage everyone to wear face coverings, as this is one of the best ways to protect yourself and others from the virus. Newsom stated that we all have a responsibility to slow the spread, and emphasizes that wearing a mask and staying physically distant will help allow the state to fully reopen the economy. Accompanied with this campaign are different social media content that can be shared and explain how and why we should wear masks. This content ranges from a variety of short video commercials that can be found on YouTube to giant billboards that we can see on the streets outside, and even Instagram posts and stories that users can utilize to spread knowledge to their fellow peers. All of this content can be found on the California government website at gov.ca.gov. The Wear a Mask campaign is a continuation of the previous campaign, Your Actions Save Lives. This campaign originally promoted messages regarding critical public health information throughout this pandemic. With a drastic increase in the number of confirmed cases, the launch of this campaign is intensively reminding everyone that by wearing a mask, in conjunction with frequent hand washing and physical distancing, we can dramatically decrease our risk of obtaining the virus and limit the spread of COVID-19. In Sacramento, JP Era, Eagle News, we live in interesting times.
Wearing a mask is no longer an oddity or just something that some other countries do. It has now become a way of life. Thank you, JP, for your report. Coming up, well, let's talk about our favorite, most functional household tool. We will return in a moment. This is Eagle News America.
Accurate and fair reporting. Not only from Batanes to Tawi-Tawi, but also abroad. Detailed and timely stories relevant to people all over the world. Catch all of these at Net25, your reliable source of news, entertainment, and technology updates.
kababayan, naharap na naman po tayo sa mabigat na pagsubok na ito. Ito yung COVID-19.
I hope everyone's okay. I hope everyone's safe.
Nandito po kami para hikayatin pa po kayo na maging matibay.
Mas maging matatag po tayo and just stay positive po sa lahat po ng nangyayari ngayon.
Mga mahal kong kababayan, lampasan po natin, pagtagumpayan po natin ang pagsubok na ito.
Stay strong sa panahon po na to.
Huwag tayong mawawalan ng pag-asa.
At inihikayat din po namin kayo na sana makinig po tayo sa ating gobyerno.
Sumunod muna tayo sa gobyerno dahil yun yung pinakamainam na paraan para hindi na lumagana pa yung virus.
Let's all stay at home.
Spend time with our loved ones, with our families.
At higit po sa lahat, make sure to pray for everyone, pray for everything that is going on right now, especially our frontliners po who are sacrificing their lives to take care of everything.
Higit sa lahat, patuloy tayong lumapit, magtiwala at manalangin sa ating Panginoong Diyos.
Lagi tayong manalangin dahil yun po ang may pinaka-mainam na solusyon sa lahat po ng mga problema natin.
God bless you and your family. Please stay strong and keep our faith.
Tuloy po ang laban.
Welcome back. You are watching Eagle News America. I'm Alan Basoyahe in Los Angeles. For many of us, the current pandemic safety restrictions had us spending much of our time at home. And being at home had us attend to things that needed fixing. Those we'd put off before, like broken cabinets, unhung frames, even walls waiting for that makeover. Enter household tools. Tonight, let's find out from our Eagle News team what their favorite tools are and why they'd recommend these to their friends. We have with us Chai, Jane Kathleen, and Mylene. So, before we get to rolling about what your favorite or useful household tool is, I want to revisit some of the clues that you gave us earlier in our broadcast. But actually, I want to go first to Chai because I don't think I asked you for a clue. Chai, give us a clue what your useful household tool might be.
Yes, Alan. My favorite household tool, useful household tool, it is something that can turn something into many pieces.
That's very broad.
Right. I could turn one thing into many. It could turn one thing into many pieces.
Okay. Is it rabbits?
Say it again.
Is it rabbits? Oh no, those are pets. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Chai.
Right.
Well, Chai, let me ask you this. Is your tool something that young children could use?
They could use it because there's some tools like this for kids.
Oh,
But
okay.
the one I'm going to show you is like for adults.
Now, I spoke earlier that I'm also going to reveal my useful tool. Is the tool that you have something that you've always used or something that you kind of discovered during this pandemic?
No, the tool I have is a very ordinary tool, Alan. Everybody has this.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, every house has this. So it's just an ordinary tool, but it's so useful. Well, as far as I'm concerned, it's so useful. Although, I admit I'm not the cook in the house, but I use this a lot.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So culinary, because we also have we also have Jane Kathleen who's been talking about culinary. So
Right.
we're going to, I guess, see a little other side of you, Chai, or something more about you. Well, we can't wait. We might ask you for some more clues later. But let's now go to Jane Kathleen. Jane, give us again your clue about your useful household tool. And is it really a household tool?
Hi, Alan. Yes, it's the household tool, a very basic tool. It has a specific purpose, but I've been repurposing it for other things because I like multifunction. So I've been sort of multifunctioning this tool, which crushes and squeezes.
Crushes and squeezes. Yes, we talked earlier. It's something about crushing people's dreams, but now you say squeeze. So when I think of squeeze, I think of something that's affectionate. Is it something affectionate, something that brings warmth to the heart?
Maybe not to the heart, maybe the taste buds.
Taste buds, because it's culinary again. I'm going to pose the same question that I did with chai. Is it something that's safe or recommended for children to use?
Well, the one I have, Alan, is not really safe for kids, but there's also something like this for kids that is done, made purposely for kids, that they can use it.
Great.
But,
we'll go ahead, Chai.
Yeah, the one I'm showing you a little later is not really for kids, but they can use it as long as, with guidance, I guess.
Right. We always promote safety for the young ones at home. So, Jane, is what your mystery item? Is it something that is there's only one type, or is there like a child version?
Well, I'm not sure that there's a child version. There's many different types. The one I have, it could be used safely by a child, as long as the adult is there to supervise.
Okay, an adult. So minus me, because I probably am not the right person to be supervising anyone. You mentioned that it is something specific. So here's my next question for you, Jane. Is it something that, say, a bachelor, just fresh out of college, living by himself, because I said bachelor. Is it something you think a bachelor, or let's go ahead with a bachelorette, would have in their kitchen or pantry, because you said culinary?
They would definitely benefit from having it in their pantry. I can't say if everyone has this type of item, but it would definitely make life easier.
Okay, so any bachelors or bachelorettes out there, I hope you're watching this program so you can see what is about to revolutionize your life coming from Jane Kathleen Gregorio. Okay, we can't wait to discover what it is you have for us, Jane.
Oh, should I tell it now?
Oh, no, because we have to go back to Mylene in North Hills. Clue time. Tell us again what the clue is about your useful household tool.
My useful household tool, like I said, it keeps you, well, it's sharp. It's sharp, and it is also in the culinary field. And I'll go ahead and answer your possibly next question, which is, can my kids use it? Yes, they can if it's not the so sharp one, so dull.
Okay, yeah, got it. So, so again, we're thinking it must have something to do with cooking, and you said it's sharp. So cooking, like Nordic or Viking cooking, is it like a battle axe?
I do have something like a battle axe.
Can we see that instead? No, it's okay. All right, so something sharp, kids can use it if they're supervised, right, by adults? Okay, great. Well, I'm very interested also I think I have an idea what it is that you have for us. Mylene, do you have any idea what I might be presenting? I'll give you a clue. It's something that can fit in the palm of an adult person's hand, kind of.
I can guess maybe a spoon or a fork.
Spoon and fork. Okay. I will say that it is not directly used for eating or for culinary purposes, but it has some connection to get it done. You have any other ideas? Or I'm going to actually move on to the others to see if they have an idea. All right. Actually, I'm going to ask then, how about Jane? Jane Kathleen.
Well, Alan, you said it fits in the palm of your hand, an adult hand, and it relates to getting things done. Wow, that's a good question. I'm thinking something like a Swiss Army knife, as it has a lot of tools associated with it, but not necessarily safe for kids.
I like that. And you know what, Jane, I'm not actually going to tell you what it is, even if you get it right, but I realize that I think I probably misspoke. I need to give you a little bit more information. Depending on the model you get, it can fit in the palm of your hand. Otherwise, like the latest models are fairly big. You can hold it in your hand, but it kind of spills out. And I don't know what else other kind of clue to give you, other than it can be pretty expensive. Chai, Do you have any idea
Yes, Alan.
what it is I'm talking about?
Good question. No.
Okay, I'll give you a clue. It's not a battle axe.
One more clue, Alan.
Okay, one more clue. You can buy a model, multiple models for your entire family. I'm sorry I'm being so vague, but I just have to do it. It's actually meant for families if you have a family.
But you said it's large, that it might fall out of your hand?
Anyone can grip it. Anyone can grip it, so that it shouldn't fall out of your hands.
Okay. Like a tablet?
My tablet's pretty big. I have to use two hands. But hey, that's a great guess, because even if you are right that it's a tablet, I wouldn't have told you yes or no before I do my big reveal. Okay, so why don't we go ahead and start revealing our team's useful household tool and what your story is behind it. Let's start off first with Chai. Chai, what do you have for us?
Okay, Alan. I have to reveal my favorite useful tool, household tool is this one.
Oh, scissors.
This is scissors, yes, but it's a kitchen scissors. This actually came with a set of kitchen knives that we got like several years ago. So although, like I said, I'm not the cook of the house, I don't really cook. It's my husband who does. But I use this a lot, especially if I'm in a hurry. Like, you know, Alan, I usually pack my lunch for work. I bring my lunch for work. And I usually pack my lunch the night before. But if at times I'm not able to do that, so I have to rush and pack my lunch in the morning. And then if I have to cut my food, like whatever it is, I use this one because it's easier and, you know, it's a lot easier. Right. And also, Alan, I have a 10-year-old. I have to cut her food sometimes for her. This is a lot easier to use because you don't have to use the chopping board, and it's so time consuming. It's not time, you save a lot of time using it.
Sure.
So yeah, this is my favorite household tool, Alan, and it's so handy for me.
Now, Chai, you mentioned you use it to cut food. Can you give us specific examples of what kind of food you cut? It's not like a birthday cake, right? You don't use it to cut the cake.
No, not for cake, Alan. Well, like I said, for my 10-year-old, she loves pork chop, fried pork chop, and sometimes when you over fry it, it turns crispy, and you cannot just cut it like with a fork, right? So I use this to cut it into pieces for her. So, excuse me. Yeah, those are some examples of food that I got for my daughter. And sometimes I cannot say the brand, but I use this too for her favorite breakfast.
Okay.
Like meatloaf or...
Well, Chai, I'm sorry I kind of spaced out because the moment you said crispy pork chops, it took me to a different place, and I couldn't focus anymore on what it is we were talking about. Crispy pork chops, I love it. And now, I've seen those scissors because, when I got married, we also got a set like that in a wooden block, knives and scissors. Is it bad, Chai, that I've never used those scissors to cut food? I've used it to cut paper and cardboard. Do you find people don't...
I use this for paper too, Alan. That's why I love this household tool because it's not only for food, especially when I cannot find my ordinary scissors, the one we use for school projects. Yes. I use this. Right. But I make sure I clean it after because we mainly use this for food.
Right. Or else you'll have, cut pieces of paper that smell like crispy pork chop, which isn't the worst thing in the world.
Yes,
All right, Chai. Well, thank you so much for that. Stick around because we want the big reveal from Jane Kathleen. What is it? Because you said it's something that crushes things and squeezes. What is it that is your favorite, or useful rather, household tool?
Well, I wanted to make a comment on Chai's tool, which is the kitchen scissors. I love those. It's like having two knives, so you don't have to take so much time to like hack and saw at your meat. You can just easily like snip it like with scissors. But I will reveal my favorite household tool. I love citrus. I love lemons. I love oranges. So it is this handy little hand lemon squeezer. But what I discovered, because I do a lot of cooking, I love cooking with different aromatic herbs and spices, and I realized that one day when I needed to crush some garlic very fast, I realized I could just crush and press garlic with this. It was actually easier. And sometimes I needed to crush some ginger, and I could use this too. And then because this one that I have is ceramic, it's pretty sturdy. I can also use it to kind of as a hammer to crush other things, even like peanut shells, as long as it's not too hard. But yes, this lemon presser has been like a very, very handy tool, and even bachelors and bachelorettes can use it in their apartment.
Jane, where has this tool been all our lives? I mean, I've heard of it, but I've never thought of using it in those other applications. Did you just stumble upon it on your own, those other uses for it, or did you get hints from other people? How did that come about?
I guess it's just, it happened to be there when I needed to crush some garlic and some ginger very fast. And so, you know what, why not just, it's right here by my table, why not just crush it with this? I mean, because you have this apparatus, this hinge that, can crush things. So if it can squeeze a lemon, it can crush a garlic, it can crush ginger, but not crush your greens.
Okay. Well, I have very few left anyway, so it's quite fine. I noticed that it's yellow, so that kind of tells me, the tool you have is yellow. That kind of tells me that it's specifically for citrus fruits. Do you think that's how they packaged it?
No, there's actually different colors, but when you see this yellow color, it's so happy and cheerful. And when I think about lemons, because I love putting lemon juice on everything, it's much to my husband's dismay. He doesn't have a sour palate like I do, but it's such a happy color, joyful color to have in your kitchen, and it definitely makes it easier to find.
Well, Jane, I've never had the pleasure of meeting your husband. I hope one day I do. And if I ever do meet him and he's squinting, I'll know it's because you slipped him too much lemon in his food that day.
Probably, Alan. But I'm still looking forward to find out your big reveal for your mystery tool.
It will be like last time. Once you find out, you're going to say, what a disappointment. And Alan cheated once again. That doesn't fit the rules of our topic tonight.
Looking forward to it.
Thank you, Jane. All right. So
thank
far,
you, Alan.
Thank you. So far, we've had kitchen scissors, which I call scissors for everything. We've had this kind of like citrus press that you can use for other things like ginger. Oh, maybe a ginger lemon drink. I've never had that. And now we go to Mylene in North Hills, California. Something sharp. It's not a battle axe, but we know that it's something for culinary purposes also. Mylene, what is your big reveal?
Well, you want me to just get to it, or do you want me to give you more clues?
Yeah, give us a clue. Give us another clue.
Okay, well, earlier I said that the kids can use it, and they can because there's a different level where you can spread things with it. Ooh, I think you just saw it.
I didn't see anything.
Okay, well, you can use it to spread things, and but mostly it's for me, since I'm a mom and I have to feed my kids, and before I can do that, I need to cook and cut things. So my favorite is having my knives.
Yes. Wow.
Yes. So they're sharp. They're pretty sharp. So they can't use those, but they can use a bread knife, which they also use when they're cutting cheese. It has little teeth, so but it's safe for them. Right. And yeah, I didn't really stumble upon it. These knives. I've always used knives in the kitchen, but more lately, in the past couple months, since we're quarantined and we can't really eat out as often, so my husband and I, we cook more than we have in the past. And one of his favorite tools, it's also a knife. This one is a little heavy, like I said. Ew, check this out.
That's a broadsword.
This is, can you see this?
You do have a battle axe.
Yeah, this is my battle axe. He uses this for, like the big meat portions that he'll barbecue or roast pig when he has to chop up the roast pig.
Okay.
Or, I could also use it if I needed to, but it's quite heavy.
That's pretty impressive. Yeah. When you brought that one out, I thought buffalo. They're chopping up buffalo. But wow, that's great. And so far it's been a lot of culinary stuff. Mylene, thank you for that. So we have the battle axe and the knives, or no, that big cutting tool.
A machete is what my husband calls it. Yeah. Because I asked him, can you show them the itak in Tagalog? And I go, what's the itak in English? It's machete.
Is that a cleaver? Do you call it a cleaver? Is that how you call it?
What
do you call that?
I call it a big knife.
Yeah, I call that respect, as in I will give anyone holding that respect. All right, Eagle Broadcasting team, thank you so much for telling us what your useful household tool is. And before we end, I guess it's my turn to tell you what my favorite household tool is. And again, you're going to be upset. My favorite household tool is a cell phone. Now, yes, cell phone.
Oh, Alan.
Yeah, what a cheater, right? I'm a cheater. Let me explain. Around the house when you need work, around the house when you need work done, you need a plumber, you use your cell phone, you need to call a plumber. You have an electrical problem, you use your cell phone to call an electrician. You need the tree cut down in front of your house, you use your cell phone to call someone to cut down the tree in front of your house. It's a useful tool because, cost a professional instead of doing it yourself, so you can avoid this, and you can also avoid this. Let's just say I received second-degree injuries to my pride. But thank you so much, everyone, for your contributions tonight.
Thank you, Alan. So surprising.
Thank you, Alan.
Thank you.
Man, I was thinking that, but you said big, it falls out of your hand.
Depending on the model.
I thought you had a bag of bolts or something.
And thank you, Caitlin, for giving me the idea on how to crush my garlic.
Thank
you. It's life easier.
Right.
And Chai, I used the scissors when I was when my kids were much younger. They were my favorite tool because everywhere we go, even at restaurants, I would cut their food with my handy dandy scissors.
Well, right. It's very good that you mentioned restaurants, because we did want to applaud those people who have returned to the workforce. So we'll continue to thank those that have returned to the workforce with a round of applause. And we'll also continue to thank our frontline and essential workers with a round of applause. We appreciate you. That is today's Eagle News America. Thank you for joining us. I'm Alan Baso Yahe. We live in interesting times.